Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is a companion video. Now, what are companion videos? Well, I'm awfully glad that you asked. See, every day on the John Campea Show, Monday through Friday, we save time to take some live questions. However, we don't always have time to get around to all the live questions that get sent in, but I want to make sure those questions get answered in a video, so I gather up the unused questions and we address them here on companion videos. So, without wasting any more time, let's dive right into it and start getting caught up here. And we're going to get started here with Luke Blackwell, who writes, what is your all-time favorite scene from an MCU film? Airport scene in Civil War. I mean, look, there's lots of great ones. Thor and Rocket in Infinity War talking about, well, what else do I have to lose? That's one of the great scenes ever. There's certainly great scenes in Winter Soldier. There's great scenes in Endgame. There's great scenes in Ant-Man, but probably my favorite scene has got to be the airport scene in Civil War. Sam Fisher writes, I read somewhere that Renner is rumored for Black Widow. Don't think it's true, but if it is, show me Budapest. Well, Budapest is far too far in the past, so I don't think they're going that far back from what I understand. And dude, there's a rumor about everybody being in Black Widow, so you're right. I wouldn't pay any attention to that whatsoever. But if he does show up, and it's not the most ludicrous thing that he does, but if he does show up, I don't think it's going to be Budapest. That's way too far in the past. I don't think they're going to go back that far. Kevin Lewis writes, best Bond theme, Paul McCartney's Live and Let Die. That's a good one. I wouldn't go that one. I really like View to a Kill. I don't know why, but I really like View to a Kill as a Bond song. I'm not sure why, but there you go. Jack Fitzgerald writes, loved Spartacus, drink the Cummings juice. Yeah, of course. And Erin, who was on the John Campea Show this morning, and you'll see her back from time to time. She played Spartacus's wife in Spartacus. Love her. That was her first real big break, was that one. And she was great in it. And it's my third all-time favorite show. And it doesn't even have anything to do with Aaron being in it. It's just my third all-time favorite show. Der Wunderbar writes, Marvel eyeing Game of Thrones star Nathalie Emmanuel to play MCU Storm. Ignore that BS. Look, Marvel is years away from doing anything with X-Men, okay? Anything that starts Marvel looking at so-and-so as an X-Men character, ignore it. Just ignore it at this point. It's nothing. James Classman writes, I think the guy in yesterday's companion video may have been referring to Logan Marshall Green instead of Logan Thomas Green in regarding to casting. I don't remember the question, but I do remember looking up Logan Marshall Green or Logan Thomas Green going, him for what? So I don't even remember who he was trying to cast in that, but you're probably right because I couldn't find anything on the guy that he actually said. So you're probably absolutely right on that, James. Thanks for the follow-up, dude. All right, Chad's Big Huge Geek Commentary writes, my top 5 probably of the year. Number 1, Toy Story 4. Number 2, Endgame. Number 3, Us. Number 4, John Wick. Number 5, Lego Movie 2. Really? I was not a fan of Lego Movie 2. I love the first one, was not big on the second one. Chad follows up with, first Lego Movie is a top 10 all-time animated movie for me. While not quite as good, I still adored Lego 2 for what it was. And that, my friend, is the beauty of the subjectivity of film. It didn't work for me. I wish it did. But it did work for you. And that's all that matters, man. And I'm glad you enjoyed that level. I mean, I'm glad if I couldn't. I'm glad other people did. And I'm glad you did, Chad. All right. Pablo Diablo writes, we who are about to drink the Campea juice salute you. Thank you for being a positive influence to film fans. Hashtag love Pisces 3000. Aw, thanks so much, Pablo. That's great. I love that. Mixing in several different jokes that we've had going on here lately. Of course, the Seagal juice stuff. So thank you, man. It's always nice when somebody wants to write in something just to be nice. Thank you. Then Pablo follows up with, do you think you would survive the training in the gladiatorial arts in the House of Batiatus? Crixus' love interest in the game is the same girl in Lucifer. Yes. She plays Mazin. Would I survive the gladiatorial training in the House of Batiatus under Crixus and the Doctore? No. And neither would you. But I can say wholeheartedly, nope, I would not survive that, Pablo, not even a little bit. Kian Shingler writes, just watch Remember the Titans, nice film. Forgot just how good that movie is. First time I saw Denzel Washington in a movie when it came out. Brilliant actor even back then. Oh yeah, Denzel has been money for a long time. And he was in a lot of high profile stuff and showing off his skills even before Remember the Titans and a number of films before that. But it was one of the films I just kind of highlighted and put an exclamation mark. We're looking at one of the greatest actors of our era. Denzel's one of the greatest actors of our era. I don't think he's the greatest actor of our era. That's Daniel Day-Lewis, all time, forever. He's the GOAT. But you got to that upper echelon where you got a Daniel Day-Lewis, you got Tom Hanks, you've got a Denzel Washington. In my opinion, you put up a Russell Crowe. Just some of the greatest of the greats, and he's right up there, man. Let's see. That was Kian. So thanks for that, Kian. Rob J00 writes, hey, John and Rob, your reaction on Paul Rudd going to be Ghostbusters, going to be in Ghostbusters. Well, that was one of our main topics earlier today on the show. We did discuss that. I think it's a great move. First of all, I'm excited about the Ghostbusters movie because you got Jason Reitman involved. I love him as a director. He's the son of Ivan Reitman, who directed the original Ghostbusters films, and adding Paul Rudd to anything is always a good idea, so I'm totally on board for it. Kian Schlingler writes, also, appreciate films subjective, but I do feel Dark Phoenix and Endgame have been judged inconsistently. I feel the weakness in Endgame were just as glaring as Dark Phoenix, but really enjoyed both. But Kian, that's the thing right there. You feel that they were judged inconsistently. You feel that. That's your perspective. There is a lot of people out there who do not agree. And it's cool if they do agree, but most people do not agree. I think the weaknesses, and now this is just my perception of it, of course. I think the weaknesses of Dark Phoenix were profoundly more stated than the weaknesses. Now, Endgame's got problems. I've talked about them ad nauseum. But overall, they were not nearly as pronounced, I feel, as the ones that were in Dark Phoenix. And they weren't as egregious as the ones in Dark Phoenix to me. Now, Dark Phoenix had some upside. I don't think Dark Phoenix was terrible. I just don't think it was good. But it wasn't terrible. And I think it had some upside. But again, you can't say, film's subjective, but on this place they've been misjudged. Yeah, but that's your subjective opinion, brother. That's your subjective opinion. So that's great that you feel that way, but a lot of us don't feel that way. That doesn't mean you're wrong, and that doesn't mean we're right. Not at all. But it just is what it is. So I don't personally feel that they've been judged inconsistently. I think they've been judged rather consistently. I just think the problems in one were more pronounced than the problems in the other, and I think also the problems in one were more egregious than the problems in the other. And you don't have to agree, and that's the beautiful thing about the subjectivity of film, is that you experienced it differently, and there's nothing wrong with that, brother. Nothing wrong with that at all. All right. Ryan Lohner writes, caught up on Lucifer, having just 10 episodes is the best thing that ever happened to the show. I disagree. Forcing them to buckle down and get shit done. Best season. I don't think it was the best season. It's certainly one of the best seasons, but Lucifer is such a great show because it is both, episodic and ongoing procedural, right? It's both. And I never felt like I watched a Lucifer episode that I ever felt was a filler episode, because by nature, it's an episodic show. It's a murder of the week kind of show, with also having ongoing storylines. Unlike, say, a show like Game of Thrones, which is just ongoing story. That's all it is. Lucifer is different. And because of that, I feel like a 22 episode season works perfectly great. I still loved season 4 being just 10 episodes, but I got to admit, I missed a little bit. A lot of the murder of the week stuff was sacrificed in order just to serve the through-going story, and that's great. But one of the things I love about Lucifer is that it's both. It's murder of the week, and it's also ongoing storylines. And I do feel the shorter season did make it sacrifice a little bit. I still love this season, thought it was great. But I could have used 5 or 6 more of really just good murder of the week kind of episodes. I miss those. I think those are great. Anyway, but that's just me. Thanks for that, Ryan. Haskell420 writes, hey gang, Aaron, you were amazing on Spartacus, and your chemistry with the late great Andy Whitfield was off the charts. Can you share a fun story with him? Well, of course, obviously Aaron's not here right now, so your question got in just a little bit late for Aaron, but she does have some good stories with Andy. She's told me a number of them, including the first day that she had to do a nude scene, and the stuff that Andy did to make her feel comfortable is the stuff of legends. And I'll let her tell that story sometime. But she will be back on the show more regularly now. Look, she's not going to be on the show every day, but I think in the future, you're going to see her pop up at least a few times a month on the show, because she's loved doing the show. I've loved having her on the show. I think you guys have enjoyed having her on the show. And I'm sure, Haskell, she will tell some of those stories. Mark my words, she will tell some of those stories, because she's got several of them. All right. Samuel Beaumont Stidwill writes, 2 days removed from impacted wisdom teeth removal. Oh, not fun, dude. Not fun. I still got one wisdom tooth I got to get pulled. So I've had all 3 of the rest of them pulled. I got one left I got to get pulled. Probably got to do that shortly after Comic-Con. I'm going to get that last one pulled, and I'm not looking forward to it. I am not looking forward to it even a little bit. So hats off to you, sir. Stubble McShave writes, Aaron and Rob actually have similar facial features. I don't see it, but then again, I've never looked for it, Stubble. Maybe if I put their pictures up side by side, maybe I'll do that a little bit later. I'll see if I can see, maybe there's a family history there. Who knows? All right. Wade O'Neill sends in a really big super chat. Thank you, Wade, for supporting the channel on that level. I appreciate it, man. I heard a rumor that Looney Bin Jim from Punisher Warzone is going to appear in Far From Home. I don't know. Who cares? I mean, I've heard rumors about 5,000 different characters. I'm sure a couple of them will be real. Most of them won't be, and I'm not going to worry about it one way or the other. But man, I am excited for the movie. I am damn excited for this movie. I cannot wait. I got my tickets. I'm stoked. I'm going to watch it on Tuesday. Very excited for this film, and I can't wait for us all to watch it. All right, Kian Shingler writes, also felt Dark Phoenix was judged inconsistently compared to Endgame, which had just as glaring weaknesses. I disagree. Do you think critics' review shaped the feedback from fans? Appreciate it subjective? No, because if that was the case, then it would shape the view of fans on every single movie, and they don't. It's been proven, all right? Sometimes, critics and fans, most of the time, critics and fans think very much the same, but we've seen many occasions when they don't. And so, no, one doesn't affect the other. And I disagree, Keen. Like, I appreciate that you felt that way. I appreciate that. But I got to tell you, I completely disagree. The weaknesses in Endgame were not, and believe me, I've gone over the weaknesses in Endgame. I talk about the weaknesses in Endgame. I see the weaknesses in Endgame. I've talked about them, but I do not believe in any sense were they nearly as egregious or obvious or as pronounced as they were in Dark Phoenix. And if you feel that way, that's great. And I'm sure that there are others that agree. But the majority of people see it the other way. And I'm often in the minority. This has happened to be one of the rare times I'm in the majority. And that neither means that you're right or wrong. Just being in the minority doesn't mean you're wrong. Being in the minority does not mean you're wrong. But I'm just saying I completely disagree with you. No, I do not think at all the critics' things affected the way the audience saw it. I think the critics' ratings might have affected some people willing to go out to see it, but I don't think critics' ratings at all influenced what people thought of it once they saw it themselves. So yeah, there's that. That's just my take on that, Kian. All right, Jonathan Maiska writes, since the Crow remake will probably never happen, I know, right? I'll believe it when I see it. They've tried so many times to get that thing going, dude. Do you think it could make a good anthology series? No, zero. With the new character resurrecting each season? No. I think that's the story of Crow, I think, lends itself to one-shot stories. But I believe the gimmick of it and the shtick of it would get real thin and real tired really fast. And I think the same can be said about many of the greatest films ever. They're designed to be one-shot stories. And I think you try to do an anthology series, I think that gets kind of repetitive, monotonous, and boring, to be honest with you. But that's just my thought. I think it would work best as a movie if they ever do get it around. But I'm like you, Jonathan. I am totally in I'll believe it when I see it mode with that, because it's looking like that thing is never going to happen. But who knows? I mean, as long as there's a will and a pocketbook and a checking account, there's a way. So maybe it will sometime. All right. Either Audrey writes, when it comes to watching anime in the States, while there are some Netflix/Hulu exclusives, the primary place for most anime is Crunchyroll. Yeah, that's true. One of two. Weekly anime recommendation genre, slice of life comedy. Kotura-san. Kotura is a psychic who can hear people's thoughts since childhood, which led to the destruction of her family/friends. Jaded, she aims to quietly get through school, but she meets an idiot who isn't bothered by it. Okay, I like the description. I really like that either gives us these recommendations. You know what? I'll tell you what. You guys know how I've been auditioning people and interviewing people lately to potentially come in and be a co-host along with me and Rob. There was this one person that I met with, and maybe I shouldn't even share this just in case I don't select her, but there's this one person I met with who I was quite impressed with, but also she knows all of anime. Like, she knows anime, like a ton. And she does YouTube stuff on anime. I'm not going to give you her name though, but, and it would be part of the reason why I find her attractive as a possible co-host is because that's an element that I really don't have, because I'm not I'm not well versed in anime. I'm not the biggest anime fan in the world. So that could be something interesting too. But I love the fact that you give these recommendations, Audrey, because even though I'm not going to be checking them out most of the time, fact of the matter is there are thousands of people watching this video that are hearing your recommendation, and they probably appreciate it a lot too. So keep sending them in either. I really appreciate it. And that sounds like a good one, actually. All right. Dylan Trost writes, Annabelle 3 has now risen to only 1 point short of Annabelle Creation on Rotten Tomatoes. Did you see Annabelle 3 yet, and did you like it as much as 2? I have not seen it because I kept hearing from some people that I know some fairly mediocre things about it, so I haven't rushed out to go see it. Anne and I are going to go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter tonight to watch their Dark Arts light show tonight, which I'm very excited about. But maybe sometime this weekend I'll probably try to get out and watch that, because I still got to see Anna too. Because Anna's not going to be in theaters for many more days. It's going to get pulled pretty quick because no one's seeing it. And I do want to see that one. So I got to get out and see Annabelle 3. So no, not yet. But you're right. I really did like number 2. I thought 1 was terrible. 2 I thought was great. Let's see how number 3 turns out. Paul Najaro writes, never wanted this before, but I'll wait for someone to leak the deleted scenes for Avengers Endgame, or even get the tickets, then walk right in at the end so I don't have to wait 3 hours. Yeah, I mean, that's something you can do. Or you can just wait 4 more weeks and get it as a part of your home video release. There's that too. It's only a few weeks away. Their home video release, remember, it's coming at the end of July. It's going to be available on streaming with the bonus features, and you're going to be able to see all this stuff that's in this post-credit stuff. You're going to be able to see it in just 4 weeks. So that is the other alternative here, Paul. You can just wait 4 more weeks and you're going to get it anyway. I know that's what I'm doing. Anyway, Alan Gonzalez writes, hey, John, happy Friday. Thank you so much, Alan. Yesterday, I saw that somebody edited Henry Cavill from Justice League and inserted Christopher Reeve's face. Looks creepy. Yeah, who cares? I mean, anybody can take anything and post it on YouTube. So who cares? I'm sure there's somebody out there who took Hulk Hogan's face and put it on Superman's head. I'm sure somebody did it somewhere sometime. So I wouldn't worry about it. And you're right, Alan. It probably would look pretty creepy. Of that, I have no doubt. All right, Ryan Lohner writes, new twist. Luke is Rey's father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate. Of course, that's a reference to Spaceballs, one of the great spoof comedies of all time. One of the most funny movies I've ever seen, too. What does that make us? Absolutely nothing. It's just a great line. I love it. Dervunderbar writes, Aaron, who is not here, have you seen Mickey Rourke in Barfly? He didn't need makeup to get the look he had. He really looked that way. Laughy face. Unfortunately, of course, Aaron is not here right now, so she can't answer that. I can't even remember it. I don't even remember the movie, to be honest with you, off the top of my head. I can't remember Barfly. I'm almost positive I've seen it, but I can't remember a thing about it. So anyway, Nicholas Piera writes, how could Warner Brothers not consider Shazam as a failure? Then Nicholas continues, in the golden age of comic book movies, the fact that a DC comedy doesn't exceed 400 million proves the disinterest of the public in it. As you say, numbers are numbers. Dude, look, brother, I say this in love. My film fan love and brother, I say this in love. But you have to desperately have some sort of agenda. And you have to, Mr. Fantastic Plastic Man, try to stretch reality to paint Shazam in any other light other than a big success. There's just no way to look at it other than it's a success. How could Warner Brothers not consider Shazam as a failure? Okay, there are 4 points of reference to determining if a movie was a failure or not. Number 1, does it make money or does it lose money? Number 2, were you as a studio happy with it? Number 3, did the audience like it? Number 4, did the critics like it? Those are the 4 pillars in determining whether or not your film is a success or a failure. You can lose money, but if the critics liked it and the fans loved it and you as a studio are happy with it, that means the future looks bright. Even if you lost money on the first one, it means you're probably positioned well to move forward. So you can even be missing one of those pillars and still look at it as a success. Let's be clear and just look, as you say, at the numbers and look at the facts. Pillar number 1, did it lose money or make money? Unlike Hellboy and unlike Dark Phoenix, Shazam made money. It's profitable. Whenever you're profitable, that's success. So number 1, it made money, even though it's a character most people have never heard of, because the last time he was on TV, most people weren't alive. right? So it was one made with children in the leads and all that kind of stuff, and it still managed to get over $400 million very easily into the profitable territory. It made money. There's pillar number one. Made money, profitable. Pillar number two. Were you as a studio happy with it? Warner Brothers they adored their own movie. They loved it. They were very happy with it. They got behind it. They marketed the hell out of it because they believed in it and they liked it. So there's number two, pillar number two. Pillar number three. Did the audience like it? Just look at every metric we have out there. Audiences, not everybody, but not everybody loves Lord of the Rings. But the vast majority of the people love Shazam. Vast majority of them. So that's pillar number three. Pillar number four. The critics liked it. The critics liked it a lot. Far more than most DCU movies here. Let me just bring this up. Shazam, Rotten Tomatoes. Okay. Let's just get what the final resting number of Shazam was. 91%. 91%. Now, even though Rotten Tomatoes verifies their user scores now, they're still not the most reliable thing, granted, but they do verify their user scores now. 86% user score. That's not as important as the critic score, but hey, if you want to bring that up, there you go. 86%. So, the four pillars determining success or failure. Was it profitable or did it lose money? It was profitable. Were you as a studio happy with it? Warner Brothers was happy with it. Was the audience happy with it? The audience liked it, clearly. Did the critics like it? The critics loved it. Dude, you're asking the question, and again, I say this in film brother love. You ask the question, how can they not consider it a failure? Dude, you'd have to twist all sorts of reality to look at it as anything but a success. As anything but a success. It hit all four pillars. In not one category did it come up short. And yeah, I mean, it was a character that most people never even heard of. They certainly never seen him on screen before. It featured children and all that kind of stuff. And it still got to $400 million. Still did that. Making it profitable and made the money. And the critics loved it and the audiences loved it and the studio was happy with it. Dude, I'm sorry. There is no rational way to look at this as anything but a success. There's just no way. You have to twist and warp reality to force it to kind of try to look negative. Now remember, this movie didn't have the name Avengers in it. This movie didn't have the word Justice League in it. Nobody was expecting Shazam to make $1 billion like they would if it was an Avengers or they would if it was a Justice League. And we know what happened with Justice League. It did come up quite short. But this is Shazam with children and nobody was expecting that. All they needed to do and all they were hoping to do as a movie is be profitable, and they did it. So dude, in brotherly love, in all the love in the world, Nicholas, in brotherly love, you got to have some twisted logic. You have to really force a twisted, warped view of reality to try to force feed the Shazam scenario as a failure. There's just no logical way. All four pillars, success, 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 success. You got to have an agenda to try to look at it as a failure. And I say that with love. I say that from the heart. And that doesn't mean you need to like the movie. Because if you didn't like the movie, that's a totally different story. That's cool. If you didn't like it, nothing wrong with that. It's a movie. It's subjective. Just because I liked it doesn't mean you need to like it. And if you didn't like that movie and you thought it was poor and all that kind of stuff, no problem with that. That's part of being a film fan. But just because you don't like it doesn't mean it failed in any of the pillars. It didn't. Didn't fail in any of them. You know, I don't like Blade Runner, but I ain't going to call it a failure. It's considered an all-time classic in sci-fi. That doesn't mean I have to like it. I don't like it. But I still acknowledge that I'm not going to pretend to call it a failure of a movie. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's just that. So no, there's no way Warner Brothers in any reality would look at Shazam as any kind of a failure. Not a chance. Michael Mahik writes, have you seen Yesterday yet? Are you going to? No, I haven't seen it yet. And again, it's another film that I was super excited about. And then I started hearing mediocre things about it. So it kind of zapped a lot of my interest in seeing it, but I am going to see it at some point because I was really interested in it at first. So we'll see. Michael follows up with, it's amazing. Lily James is everything. Lily James. I do love me some Lily James, and I think the concept of the movie is brilliant. And you got Danny Boyle directing it, so I'm going to see it. But I do have to see Annabelle first, and I got to see Anna because I'm really interested in Anna. And then I got Spider-Man on Tuesday. I got Lion King coming up that I got to see this week. And so, anyway, it's just piling up. And I got to finish Punisher Season 2 because I'm almost done. I think I'm on episode 10 now. Anyway, Matsiv Jada writes, are you aware Kinberg did direct a bad episode of Twilight Zone? Oh, I didn't know he did an episode of Twilight Zone. I don't know if it's bad or not because I haven't seen it, but clearly in your opinion it was. Black Wolf Inc. writes, could we start seeing studios running their own events? Marvel Phase 3 announcement is still one of the best moments from Marvel Studios. Well, I mean, we already do see them run their own events. But you got to have something worth having an event over. Like, remember, Marvel Phase 3 wasn't just announcing a movie. It was announcing like 8 movies. But I don't think you're going to see Marvel do that anymore. I don't think you're going to see Marvel laying out the next 9 movies in a row. I don't know that you're going to see them do that anymore. I think they've seen other people like DC have that bite them in the ass doing that. And they themselves, Marvel got bit in the ass a little bit because at that, I was, by the way, I was physically at that Marvel Phase 3 announcement. I was there. It was at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood. I was there. 7th row. Boom. It was great. But making that big announcement, it came back and bit them in the ass too. Because you know what one of the big movies they announced was? Inhumans. And then, of course, that movie never happened. Now, granted, that's only one, but still, that was embarrassing for Kevin Feige. And Kevin Feige don't like to be embarrassed. Kevin Feige don't like to have egg in his face. So I don't think you're going to see an event like that. But by the way, Disney has D23, which is just one big giant event for Disney to announce all their stuff from Star Wars, Pixar, Marvel, Disney film, Disney animation, you name it, they do it. The thing is, what's Sony going to do that for? I mean, there's really, other than having like some big massive like 18 movie plan, I don't see Sony doing that. So why not just take advantage of things like CinemaCon and things like that? But I don't know, it's possible. As I said, we already see Disney doing it. So it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility that other studios do it as well. It just raises a question of how effective would it be. We'll have to wait and see. All right, Patrick Conway writes, do you think Disney will re-release Lion King before the new Lion King? No, I don't think so. Black Wolf Inc. writes, listen to Downstraight Kingdom and Fozzy Judas. I don't know who any of those are. I know Fozzy because that's Chris Jericho's band, if that's a band you're talking about. But other than that, I don't know who any of the rest of those are. Bames John writes, I like that. We do not train to be merciful. Mercy is for the weak. Oh, this is Karate Kid. Here in the streets, in competition, a man confronts you. He is the enemy. An enemy deserves no mercy. It's a great moment from Karate Kid, man. Look, and I'll call it. I'm not afraid. You know, earlier I said I'm in the majority on something. Well, this is something I'm in the minority on. I don't like Cobra Kai. I tried to watch it. I got about 4 or 5 episodes in and I tapped. I said, I can't take this anymore. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was ridiculous. But everybody else loves it, including my wife. My wife thinks it's great. Kaori, our girlfriend, thinks it's great. Everybody, all of you think it's great, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm perfectly happy to be in the minority of this one. I acknowledge that you all love it, and that's fine. I just found it unwatchable, and I tried because I was so excited for it. I thought the idea was great. So I tried. I muscled through 4 or 5 episodes, and it's like, I can't. And I'm just tapping. I can't take it anymore. This is awful. And I ditched on it. But hey, that's just me. And if you guys love it, including my wife, more power to you. It's just something that wasn't for me. But that original movie is something special, dude. Cool Some XD writes, fun fact, Sean Pertwee's dad, that's the guy who plays Alfred in Gotham, was Dad John was the 3rd Doctor Who. I did not know that. That's an interesting little bit of trivia. Cool Some XD. I appreciate that, man. Sid Vicious writes, where are we at? There we are. Sid Vicious writes, at the end of the day, Joker is by Todd Phillips, who made good movies and hangover garbage sequels. There's no way it's getting a Best Picture nomination. Dude, come on, dude. Look around you. Look around you. Todd Phillips has made some good films. He's made a couple bad ones, yes, but he's made some good ones. To say that because he's also made some bad ones, that means it'll never get a nomination, that's ignoring the facts. Dude, take Chernobyl. Let me just get the guy's name. It was Craig something. Craig. Hold on a second. Chernobyl. what's the guy's name? Craig Mazin. Craig Mazin, the creator and showrunner of Chernobyl. Chernobyl, which pretty much everybody on the planet is acknowledging right now, is the greatest thing on TV this year, right? Best thing ever on TV this year. That's pretty much universally accepted, right? It's going to win all the Emmys, probably. Well, what did Craig Mazin do before Chernobyl? He did, I kid you not, he did Superhero Movie, which sucks. He did Huntsman, The Winter War, which sucks. He did, speaking, of course, of Todd Phillips, he wrote Hangover Part 2 and 3. He wrote, this guy, the guy who did Chernobyl, wrote The Hangover Part 2 and 3. Sucks. This guy hasn't done anything exceptionally good. Nothing. He's done nothing exceptionally good. And yet, he did Chernobyl, which is the greatest thing on TV this year. So, pump the brakes a little bit on saying, just because one filmmaker happened to make a couple of bad films, which, by the way, Craig Mazin also worked on those ones, Hangover 2 and 3. He worked on them too. He wrote those movies, and yet he's the guy who then gave us Chernobyl. So I would suggest pumping the brakes a little bit on saying Joker could never be an awards contender because the guy who directed it also happened to make a couple of bad movies. Don't think that way. See the movie, and then maybe after seeing the movie, you'll go, okay, now I really know this is never going to win any awards, possibly. Or you might go, oh my God, this thing's amazing. But let Craig Mazin, the creator and showrunner and lead writer of Chernobyl, let the lesson of Craig Mazin wash over you like a warm shower and remind us that just because he's done crap before, it doesn't necessarily mean he can't swing and knock it out of the park now. And Todd Phillips has a better I mean, it's not perfect, but he's got a better track record than Craig Mazin, and Craig Mazin gave us Chernobyl. So, yeah, I would pump the brakes on that. No way it's getting a nomination. I pump the brakes on that because precedent says it is possible. So let's just wait and see. Again, we may see Joker and decide this thing is a big bag of crap, and that will settle it right there. But let's keep an open mind until it comes out. I think we all acknowledge right now it looks pretty damn good. It's got great people involved. You got Joaquin Phoenix, who doesn't sign up for just anything. So I think it's earned a little bit of the benefit of the doubt until we see it. Now, once we see it, could change everything. But let's not make any big grand pronouncements like there's no way it could get a nomination until we see it. Let's just wait and see on that. David Tapia writes, and this is the final question of the day, and then we're all caught up. David Tapia writes in, how would someone be able to get an Erin autograph? Well, that's a good question. Meet her at a meet and greet, maybe. Maybe I'll see if Erin wants to come to Comic-Con this year. I haven't asked her. Maybe I'll see if Erin wants to come to Comic-Con this year. And then maybe if she's there and you're at Comic-Con, you can go up and meet her. But otherwise, I don't know how you could get an autograph from her. But hey, I'll ask her sometime the next time she's in. All right, guys, that was fun. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of this today, guys. I really enjoyed that. That will wrap up this installment of the companion video. Thank you so much to everybody who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us some fun things to talk about, whether the things we agree with or disagree with. That's the more fun stuff, is the stuff we get to disagree on. But not only because you gave us great stuff to discuss, but also because you supported the channel as you did that, and I thank you very much for it. Ray thanks you for it. Jonathan thanks you for it. Robert thanks you for it. Aaron thanks you for it. So thank you for your support, guys, and I really appreciate that. All right, guys, don't forget, it's the weekend, so we've got some open mics coming this weekend, and then, of course, on Monday, the John Campea Show returns. Me, Robert Meyer Burnett will be here. Make sure you come back and join us for that. That'll do it for me for now, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. My name is John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.